Yes, ma'am. Ready when you are.
The Village of Lincoln Heights regular council meeting, Monday, April 11th, 2022. It is approximately
7:32.
7:32. Roll call, Ms. Franklin.
Randolph. Councilwoman Laverne
Ms.
Mitchell.
Randolph. Oh,
That's
God.
okay.
Her name used to be Franklin.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell. Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Present.
Councilman Durant Daniels.
Present.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter.
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. She's absent. Vice Mayor Jenny Stinson.
Present.
And Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey. She's also absent. We have 5 who are present and 2 who are absent. We do have a quorum, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to offer a motion to excuse Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey and Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. They did call and report that they were not going to be able to attend the meeting today.
Second.
Thank you. Those 2 council members will be excused for April 11th council meeting. Can we vote on that? Can we get a vote on that?
Favor.
Just, do we get a name vote?
All in
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Ms. Key, can you offer a prayer, please?
Yes, ma'am. Father God, we'd like to thank you, God, for just allowing us to be in your community just one more time. We thank you, God, for life, health, and strength. We thank you for the many favors and blessings you have bestowed upon us. We ask you that as we do the business of the village, that you be with us, grant us wisdom, grant us grace. We ask you to be with our residents, those who may be sick today, our council members who are not feeling well today. We ask you to go by and touch their bodies. Lord, as we do the business of the village, we ask you to be with us as we make decisions that are affecting the community as a whole. Lord God, we ask you for these favors in your name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get an acceptance of the agenda, please?
Second.
It's been moved in second.
Oh, no, I didn't want to put it on the table.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Can I get a motion for the filing of the journal for the committee of the whole meeting for March 28th, as well as the regular council meeting?
Motion pending any corrections.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have a speaker tonight. Like to ask for if Ms. Jennifer Kinsley is here.
I am. Hi.
Hi. Can you tell us who you are?
Yes, is it okay if I take off my mask to speak?
It's okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name's Jennifer Kinsley. I am the endorsed Democrat running for the 1st District Court of Appeals here in Hamilton County. The 1st District Court of Appeals is a county-wide court. The work of the Court of Appeals is to look over what happens in trials, to see if there are any mistakes that were made, and to take care of those mistakes so that trials are inherently fair. For many people, this is the last stop for justice because the Ohio Supreme Court takes so few cases per year, about 3 to 5 cases out of Hamilton County on average. This court also plays an important role in our community because it sets policy and precedent that the trial courts have to follow. Now, for most of my life, I've worked 2 jobs. I believe in hard work. I've been a teacher and I've been a lawyer. I'm a tenured law professor at Northern Kentucky University Chase College of Law. I was one of the first people in the 125-year history of that law school to earn early tenure. It's something I'm really proud of. I teach constitutional law, criminal law, and practical lawyering skills classes. I use the law as a tool to fight for people's rights, and I teach my students to do the same thing. For 22 years, I've been standing up for people who don't get a fair shake in our world. When I was a little girl, growing up in the Deep South, I saw firsthand how unfair the world can be, something I don't have to tell the people in this room. My parents took me to a minor league baseball game. My dad was a union worker, and we didn't have a lot of money, and so we bought cheap seats. But when we got in the ballpark, the place was empty. The team wasn't very good. I think we're kind of maybe in for that with the Reds this year. Love the Reds, but I think maybe that's what we're in for. Hope opening day tomorrow goes well, though. And we got in there, place was empty, and so we sat down low in the good seats. Another family came in behind us and did the same thing, but this family looked different from us. And as soon as they sat down, the usher came over and he asked to see their tickets, and when the tickets didn't match the seats, he made them move, but he never said anything to my family. As a little girl, watching that unfold, it made me very mad. Still to this day, when I see things like that, it makes me mad. I went over to the usher, I asked him his name, and I told him I saw what he did. But as a little kid, I couldn't really do more than that. But the law is not powerless. The law can do more. And so I grew up, I went to law school, and I became an ally and an advocate to stand up for families like the one I saw in the ballpark that day. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 decades. I started my career as a juvenile public defender, and very quickly I saw that our system needed change. I left the public defender's office to become a civil rights attorney. I sued our juvenile prison system in the state of Ohio, and I closed down juvenile prisons, shut them down, because they were locking up kids for 23 hours a day without food, without health care, without education. I've also worked in my scholarly research to expose sentencing disparities in Ohio, to get to the bottom of why it is that people are treated differently in our criminal sentencing practices because of how they look or where they came from. And I have tackled bail reform because I do not believe that the difference in whether you stay in jail or you go home should depend on how much money you have. These are the kind of values I will bring with me to the Court of Appeals. I believe in hard work. I believe in listening. I believe in caring about our community. My eyes are open. My ears are listening. I would be so honored to represent you and your community on the Court of Appeals. My name is Jennifer Kinsley. I'm running for the 1st District. You can find out more about me at jenniferkinsleyforjudge.com. Thank you so much for your time and for the work that you do on behalf of the community. It's an honor to be here to speak with you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
I like that. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kinsley. We're going to move on for hearing from any residents. Did any residents put in to speak or?
No.
Okay.
No, Vice Mayor.
All right.
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, just didn't know if we could ask one question to our guests, if that's, if
Sure.
that's
Would
okay?
you like to ask a question,
Just
Mr.
one,
Daniels?
if that's okay.
Sure, Ms. Kinsley, will you come back up to the hot mic?
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Ms. Kinsley, for coming up and once again, speaking to our residents, coming to our community and speak. Two questions. One maybe a little bit easier than the other one. Your opponent is Mr. Winkler, I believe.
Yes.
What are some key differences that you feel that you bring that he doesn't? And secondly, especially with your background, which is one I definitely appreciate. Why the Court of Appeals, especially with some of the race disparities of people that look like us that even get the chance to go to that position? Why that one? So I'm sorry, 2 questions, because I want to know if I get a chance, but those are my 2.
Thank you so much for those questions. So as to the first question, the difference between me and my opponent, I want to start off with telling you about this race. So my opponent is already on the Court of Appeals, but I'm not running for his seat. His seat expires in 2024, not 2022. He is running to change seats and create a vacancy on purpose that the governor, not the voters, will fill. He is trying to take away choice and voice from the voters. I do not stand for that. There is a big difference between me and my opponent, and that comes in the hard work piece. So when you look at my opponent's statistics in terms of his decision-making process, he has decided a significantly fewer number of cases over his term on the court than the other judges that he works with. About 30 per year on average fewer than the other judges who work there. And that is across party lines. So his slogan, I believe, for his campaign is "Experience Matters," but he has been doing less than the other judges on that court. That's his experience. Now, you've heard from me here tonight that I've been working 2 jobs for most of my legal career, and I haven't told you about the 5 children that I've raised over that time period. So I guess maybe that's 3 jobs. So I know I can work harder than that on behalf of our citizens because they deserve it. To your second question, yes, a lot of people's cases don't ever make it to the Court of Appeals because they don't have the resources to get there. That's something we need to talk about and examine. One thing I can tell you that I've done to try to make up that difference and close that gap is I've contributed my services to a lot of people for free. In the summer of 2020, I represented virtually every person who was arrested in the George Floyd protests downtown for free because I believe that people are entitled to quality legal representation regardless of how much money they have. And that's something we need to talk about and tackle. People should be able to appeal their case if they think something went wrong in it, regardless of whether they have money to afford an attorney or not. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You guys, I could talk all night. I'm a lawyer, so this is what we do.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have a question. On your website, are we able to reach out to you if we want to have conversations with you
Yes.
beyond this forum as well?
Yes.
Okay.
The website will link to my campaign email address. It is kinsleyforjudge@gmail.com as well. But yes, the website will link you there. I have a Facebook and Instagram and Twitter page of the same name also. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you. And we don't have any hearing from the residents, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Communications from you, Ms. Randolph?
Yes, I did want to make one announcement. The Healthcare Connection, Miss Melody Bloom came down to the village because the Healthcare Connection had some extra boxes of face masks and also the COVID-19 testing. And the Healthcare Connection is located at 1401 Stephen Avenue, and they're offering free face masks and the COVID-19 test kits in their front lobby. You do not have to be a patient. You can walk in to receive those items. They're also offering COVID-19 testing and COVID vaccines. Now, to get the testing and the vaccines, you do need to contact them to make an appointment. And that number is 513 area code 588-3632. Again, the number is 513-588-3623. Thank you. That was my announcement.
Thank you, Ms. Randolph. I didn't receive any communications from the mayor. We want to wish her well, though. Ms. Powdrill, do you have any communication?
Yes, I'll just be brief that we're continuing to do the work for the community makeover. Our conversations continue. The easement that we're requesting is going in front of Princeton's board this evening. We hope to hear a favorable response on that. The Wi-Fi is moving forward. They are now making site visit of the 3 multi-dwelling units off of Mangum. And I have one announcement, and that announcement is that St. Monica is having their Easter egg hunt on Saturday, and it starts at 2 o'clock, and all are welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Powdrill. Will that be at St. Monica's?
Yes,
Okay.
and he specifically said, please come in, park on Douglas and come in from the Douglas side.
Thank you. My apologies, I skipped over the announcements. Mr. Daniels, do you have any announcements?
Ma'am, happy Easter, everybody.
Thank you. Ms. Charles Jeters?
Happy Easter. Early voting has started. You may go and vote only one time. Also, I asked Ms. Randolph to please print off some vote by mail applications and put them out there if you want one. Take it, mail it in. Now, you know, the primary is a little different this year. We may have to vote, or I know we're going to vote again sometime. Whatever that time is, I don't have it right now. But everyone that's not on your ballot, if you're interested in what is on your ballot, go to the Board of Elections in the search engine, put in a sample ballot, pull it up, put your information there, it'll pop into you, and you will see exactly what's on your ballot. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Charles Jeters. Ms. Key?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the Village of Lincoln Heights residents, you're invited to a community forum on Saturday, September 23rd, 2022, starting at 12 p.m. We will conclude it at 1:30 p.m. here at Village Hall, and it is to have some discussion about the land use plan and development strategy. Light refreshments will be served, and this is hosted by your Economic Development Committee. That's all.
Ms. Key, can you repeat that date?
Yes, I'm sorry. Saturday, April 23rd,
Thank you.
2022.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Mitchell, do you have any announcements?
No, ma'am.
I have no announcements, so we're going to keep it moving. Committee reports. Mr. Daniels, do you have a law-standing committee report you'd like to share?
Yes, ma'am. Due to the fact that I have 3 reports, I'm going to summarize mine. If you need a full report, you can also get the paper report that I submitted as well. In February, our main point of discussion, we started off with old business on the traffic assessment, and village manager did give us an update. Signs have been updated, and we're just awaiting consulting feedback on the rest of our signs. Our next point of topic that we touched upon in February was our virtual meeting discussion. We looked into Woodlawn, as well as the Center for Local Government, about how we can use our home rule to develop policy for using remote meetings and having residents to vote on that for our November election. I'm going to fast forward into March because as we carry that conversation over a little bit more. As we went into that, we looked into Woodlawn's section in their charter, if you wanted to read it as well, is section 2.16 of their meetings of council, and it pretty much reads that the meetings may be held at a such time and place as described or by ordinance, and may be conducted by electronic, teleconference, web, or video means during a declared emergency or otherwise permitted under the charter, otherwise permitted by the charter or under the Ohio law. This will allow the business of the village to be conducted virtually in emergency situations. So even if we're not just talking about a COVID situation, if we're talking about a snow emergency or any type of natural disaster, we will still be able to conduct the business of the village. Those were some of the main topics that we talked about in March. As we continue to kind of slide down that as well, we said actually Vice Mayor thinks that the village manager, that the village solicitor did share that the Ohio Governors DeWine had allowed virtual meetings until June of 2022. As she believes, and once again, we can continue to discuss this. I believe we have up until our May meeting that allows us 90 days to put anything up for the charter, if these are still things that we would like to discuss moving forward. A motion that came out of that was that we made a motion that that the law director decide to take under consideration to review and comment with any suggestions, and then take it to all the village council. This motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Stinson, and that vote was taken and passed. Once again, we'll just kind of fast forward into April, and I'm sorry, once again, we did have 3 committee reports to get catch up on. If you needed to get more information, you can reach out to me personally or get these written reports as well. So I'll go into a little bit more detail into our April report. So are just some of our old business. We did discuss, let me pull up mine here. We did lay discussion, and we talking about into April, and just the parking and our village manager, I'm parking in the village of Lincoln Heights. We just wanted to go through some of our old business, and the village manager, Joyce Powdrill, does have broad powers according to our charter. So when it comes to just parking enforcement, if you look in our charter 76.07, when it comes to parking and stopping restrictions, for the sake of time, I won't read that verbatim, but it does really get into, once again, the village manager is authorized and required to ascertain on what highways and parts of highways and all other municipality properties and accommodations of traffic for the safety of public requires the restrictions as to time or the prohibition of the parking or stopping of vehicles, as he or she shall erect or maintain appropriate traffic signs plainly indicating the purpose of such restrictions. So once again, just try to sum that up the best way I can, but just once again, we talked about the enforcement and just talk about how we structure our parking throughout the village manager does have broad powers. A motion that was made out of that discussion is that I made the motion that to take the village council, that the village manager is instructed to conduct a parking and street assessment in the village of Lincoln Heights with a completion date of 90 days. So once again, as I finish our report, I will make that formal motion. If there's any questions, we can get to that as well, because I know I am summarizing. But once again, that was for an overall, just to have that parking and street assessment of the village of Lincoln Heights completed within 90 days. It was motioned by me, second by village manager Jeannie Stinson, Vice Mayor, thank you, Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson, and we will have that further discussion after my committee report, hopefully. Just a parking discussion that we had spoken about. Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey suggested that using the village lots for parking as a suggestion, obviously using asphalt and gravel to cover that over. If nothing is not being used, let's use it for parking was one suggestion that the mayor had made. Legislation ideas for charter. Once again, as we talk about our law committee meeting, ideas and potential conversations that could be put back into the voters for November. One thing we talked about was an economic development, not trying to step on in their lane, but more so how can we put some protections in our charter that that allows our village of Lincoln Heights to be determined by us. So the prevention of Wall Street companies and firms and organizations from buying property and then renting them out at astronomical prices within the village is some things that we would like to look into from a law standpoint as those type of protections. So once again, out of that conversations, we were asking if it was a suggestion to bring it to our village solicitor decide at our next council meeting if it's potential to do some research to make sure we're in our parameters to at least move in that type of direction as our home rule. Can we put in certain type of protections that once again states that if you are a stock firm or some type of big corporate entity outside of our 50-mile radius, that you cannot come in and do business in that type of manner. Obviously, we have folks that come in and want to buy. There's certain type of safeguards. Obviously, you have to continue to keep moving. We've obviously talked about that nail in the wall conversations, but this is more so just a protection. So You don't have outside entities coming in, buying our properties, raising our property values, and once again outplacing and displacing residents at a pace that is not one that we're comfortable with. So that would be once again just a suggestion that came out of our law committee as well. Legislation to protect residents, especially those who have been in the village over years, was another reason behind that. Suggestions to be made, so I will wrap this up as soon as possible, I'm sorry. Suggestions to be made to have the code enforcer focus on specific areas when it comes to enforcement. So instead of it being so broad of asking our code enforcers to go from Shepherd all the way up to Prairie, is it more conducive and more effective to ask them to focus on certain areas? Let's clean that up there and move in that direction. Was one suggestion made, obviously was made by Councilmember Mitchell. Village-owned properties need to be identified and being intentional on those properties that will allow HERC to build on them, depending on the style of the home and whether those new homes merge into surrounding homes. And Councilwoman Mitchell also commented that despite having the land use study, there still needs to be a specific on how we want our village to look. So especially when it comes to housing and it comes to apartments, once again, not the law committee, but the council as a whole. And that was once again just a conversation as we talked about what protections and what things we need to discuss in law. So it's a little bit off. I'm glad the changes that are being made to committees are happening, because I think once again, I think that could push some of these conversations forward in the right direction. Just moving forward, we talked about the fencing piece, and that's the last part I'll move up on, because I know that was also brought up as well. We had a brief discussion on fencing and at the village and its effectiveness around surrounding homes. So we brought up our code 153.155 and height limitations on fencing and on walls. And if you would want to, Ms. Mitchell, I can read it, but it pretty much just talks about the height and how far those pieces can be from the street as well. So that was things that we spoke about in our last meeting. Once again, just follow-up discussion, residents missing their number addresses. I do want to speak up on this, and I will let it go on that. Anything else you can look upon. We've continuously talked about having our addresses obviously put on our streets, in front of our houses. That's a part of our code. That's just overall safety in general. If it pleases council, or if it, and once again, I might be out of order on potentially how I'm presenting this. If it's so, might please stop me. But if it pleases council, can we potentially use dollars out of our service department, or ask our service department with spray paint and just stencils, just to go and put those addresses on all the
Curbs.
Yeah, thank you. On all the curbs in front of homes that do not have those things identified. And it was kind of a two-way spark that we talked about it. We can go through, just simply knock on the door and ask, hey, can you get it done? If you don't want to get it done, then you might have to be forced to get a Cincinnati Reds one, maybe, if that's a way that you go about it. It was just a conversation. I'm just bringing it up because it was in the notes, because we talked about the Cincinnati makeover. But I think the main point of it is having our code enforcement and our public service department just kind of drive around, identifying the homes that have missing addresses, and then if we can use just spray paint and stencils to kind of cover that piece up as well. So I will stop at that point because there's a lot more, but if there's anything else, you can get the written record. So I hope that our committee accepts my my verbal report, and the written report, you can see our clerk of council for that as well. So I think I'm done.
You had a motion, didn't you?
No, well, the motion came out of our committee, and then after, if there's any questions on those type of things, once we're officially wrapped up, I'll make an official motion and move in that way. But any questions? I hope that we accept my report, and at that point, if this, yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Dennis,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to clarify about the addresses.
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
not just the addresses that are missing, but put the addresses on the curbs for all the homes, because again, even though we contract with Woodlawn, people come from Lockland, Wyoming, and if there's an emergency and they don't see the address, so it's a safety thing that we need to consider as well. And so not just the ones that have missing addresses, they should be notified that you need an address on your house. That is what they are supposed to do. The extra protection is to put it on the curb so that we can, emergency vehicles can also see it, because sometimes you cannot see the addresses on the homes.
My concern with the curb is that not all curbs are, that you can put something on a curb.
Right, or the apron. I mean, that's something we'd have to look at to see how we can do it.
I had another idea for the addresses as well, since our football teams, you know, do fundraisers and everything. I was thinking maybe they could get some stencil and go door to door, and if people don't have it, that's $2 a thing, and they get to know their community, and people get to know who they are. They are champions, right? Something like that. To me, that's a cost we don't have to take up, spray paint and those stencils. I'm thinking that's something that they could possibly do as a community.
You're right, Vice Mayor. You know, that could be part of the community.
We'll talk about that
makeover.
more probably in recreation.
Community makeover too,
Yeah.
part of their volunteer piece of that.
Thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Daniels? Okay.
So if it pleases Vice Mayor Stinson, I'd like to make a couple motions, if that's fine, just making sure we're still in order.
First, Mr. Daniels.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, can we, a motion to accept your report?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, have a motion to set my verbal report for.
Motion to
February
accept
through
Mr.
April.
Daniels' report.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Mr. Daniels, your motion.
Thank you. My first motion, I would like to make a motion. I want to make sure I read it correctly here. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Thank you. My first motion, I would like to make a motion to have the law director, Deepak Desai, take under consideration to review and comment with suggestions, and then take it to, and then any suggestions he have that he brings to all of village council on the subject of virtual meetings and during an emergency situation. So I'll end it at that to try to. I believe that's sufficient enough.
I second that motion.
Yeah, thank you.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
any
yeah,
questions?
question.
We have to actually vote on this though, right? Don't we have to go through each person? They say yes? Roll call, yeah. Any, I just,
Did you say? I'm sorry.
any questions?
I do have a question.
Sorry for the moment. Yes, ma'am.
My question was to
Go ahead, Ms.
My
Key.
question was to Mr. Desai. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear to you, like what the expectations were to bring back to us. I just wanted to make sure, not that I'm
Yeah,
slighting
no,
what
thank
you're
you. No.
asking, but I know that sometimes things go into extraordinary, so I don't want a lot of, back and forth. Do we know we're looking to be able to do meetings virtually? I just want to make sure. That's all.
My linguistic skills are terrible today, so I appreciate you clarifying.
That's okay. We all we're all here to help support each other. I just want to make sure.
It's a rainy day, right?
Yeah.
That's what causes that, and it's a Monday. So this discussion between, this motion, I think, to some extent originates from a discussion Mr. Daniels and I had a few months ago. Woodlawn changed their charter to allow for virtual meetings in emergency settings. And we had a situation back when Omicron was prevalent just after the holidays where I think some of us were a little concerned about meeting in person. However, at that point in time, the bill that Mr. Daniels had referenced was not signed into law. So we ended up having our meeting, and the thought was we ought to amend our charter to allow us to go ahead and have virtual meetings when we deem it would be, a situation that would be in the public interest. The only concern I have about it is I have a one or two sentence email from the law director for Woodlawn, because I asked her how they were doing that without legislation in place, and she sent me an email saying that they had amended their charter. The only thought that occurred to me is, are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to amend our charter in a way that is not consistent with the Open Meetings Act? As you know, for example, we used to have a 75-day rule prior to the election for purposes of getting stuff down to the BOE. And we did change that a couple years ago because the Board of Elections asked us to change it. But if we hadn't changed it, we would have had the power to basically make it 75 days as opposed to the 90 days that, you know, most other jurisdictions follow. So I would want to look into, is there any hindrance from us doing something like that? I'd probably start off with something easy, like sending the law director for Woodlawn an email and say, hey, did you happen to research this? And if you did, can you share with me your research? And I think that kind of goes to your question about extraordinary services. Would there be stuff involved beyond just drafting the legislation? And the answer to that is, if I'm going to be a good lawyer, yes, there will be, because I want to make sure what we're doing is legal. My presumption is it can be done. The law director for Woodlawn is a very good lawyer, and I don't think she would have done it without looking into whether or not it could be done, but I would want to confirm that. Did that answer your question, Ms. Key?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
I guess my for discussion, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Key.
I understand looking at Woodlawn, because that's what you brought. That's what you did some research on, which we thank you for that, because we do want to know that information. But are we just stopping there? If there's any other communities that's already done it, based on the response that you got back, not slighting Woodlawn at all, but based on the response that you already got back, or you already received back, is there any other places that we can go to fast track this? Because if we do want to get it on the ballot, you know, coming back to committee, coming back to council, that's going to take some time, so we can write it the way we need to write it. I just want to mitigate that time lapse.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to be mindful of the fact, too, we're on recess in August, so.
Correct.
So if I did not get an answer that I was satisfied with, what I typically do is turn to the Ohio Municipal Attorney Association. I call it the listserv, but we basically, for all of us who belong to the OMAA, we have an email, and I probably get a dozen emails a day from law directors throughout the state who are asking questions of this nature. And so I would send an email out on that listserv to say, has anyone done this? Has anyone researched this? If you have, could you reach out to me separately and provide me the information you have? So that would be my second place to go.
Gotcha. I just don't want to pigeonhole us to just what one other community did, to get more information so that we can get the best resolution for our community.
Ms. Charles
Thank you.
Jeters.
I will also check with ICRC, since I have a meeting next week with them, to see what communities that they are doing virtually. Yeah, and I'll get that to Lisa and she can pass it on.
All right, can we vote on the motion?
Roll call.
Okay, no more questions. Roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
So Mr. Desai will move forward with that. Mr. Daniels, you had another motion?
Yes, ma'am. One more motion. I make a motion to take the village council. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I make a motion that we instruct our village manager to conduct the village manager in her office to conduct a parking and street assessment in the village of Lincoln Heights with a completion date of 90 days. Is my motion. Should there be questions?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions?
Yes, I have one too. Village Manager Paldra, are you already doing that? Have you started that process of it?
We have a mini grant for $8,500, and that is the scope of work that I have. I'm going to engage a consultant to do on our behalf, in conjunction with the stop signs as well.
Okay, so you're going to start the process.
Yes.
So actually, we don't need to do that motion because that's something that you're already doing. Well, we already did the motion and it's passed. So
Yeah.
is that something that you're already working on that? For the record, she's already working on it.
And I think, and which is great too. And I think once again, I think because it's still a question. So I think with the question piece of it, because I think the 90 days, and I think it just gives us a target. If we have to come back and move it, I think that's fine. But I think just giving us something to shoot for, I think is important as well too. So.
I was going to say, yeah, that was my issue, the 90-day time period. I do like that, having that assessment for our streets, because we do need to look at stop signs and signs. We need to look at a lot of things. But there was something that you brought up in your report that I wanted to make sure that it was not a part of, that this motion was not part of, and that is looking at property that we can use for parking. I do have an issue with that. I like to work that out a little bit more, because we do have ordinances that does not allow people to park in grassy areas and things like that. And so there's a lot more pieces to that. And so if that's not a part of it, I don't mind doing the assessment to find out where we are, because it's something that we do have to do. We should know for our community.
Mr. Daniels?
So yeah, to your concern, Councilwoman Key, no, because obviously it's only things that we can actually park on right now.
Yep.
So
Okay.
yeah, moving forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms.
So,
Mitchell.
Ms. Key, the content was, the mayor was just saying that we have some lots, and she was primarily talking about on Jackson. And so we would have to research and make sure. I think it's like 2 lots there, which lot is ours. We don't want to be in the middle. So it's just a suggestion of her that we need to look to see if any of, in our business areas, is there somewhere that we could do that. But then we also brought up the fact that any businesses that establish themselves are supposed to have off-street parking. So it should not be just on us. But that was just her suggestion. And so we talked about, making sure that it would be feasible. So.
Right. I was just making sure it wasn't
Fine,
part of
yeah.
this that
No,
we were
not
voting
part
on,
of
because
that.
we do need to talk about that.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Roll call, do we do that? What we do?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So if I'm understanding correctly, it sounds like the manager is somewhat in lockstep with the law committee in terms of getting this street assessment done, at least part of it. And we do have a motion and a second on the floor. We haven't taken a roll call vote. My recommendation would be to allow Ms. Powdrell and the consultant to do their work and then come back to council with what they have and determine from there where we want to go, so that we don't have any kind of a duplicative motion, and also we know where we want to go once we see that assessment. So that would be my recommendation. If council is so inclined, then you would want to withdraw your motion if you were inclined to do that.
Not,
James?
just so I'm clear, I'm not rescinding my motion yet. Just as that would be the next step, would be to just rescind my motion, and then that's how that would go. Correct? I want to ask any council members if they have any adverse feelings towards that, or they want to move forward before I do that. So
I'm going to say, since it was on the record that she's already working on it, she's working on it.
yeah. So if that's the case, if everybody, oh, sorry,
I
man.
have a question. So Ms. Powell, do you have a idea as to when, so the consultant is doing the review, what we should do, how we should do it, and then we have to hire someone to actually go through and make all the changes?
The first part of your assessment, yes, they will give us recommendations, and I envision our Department of Public Works making those changes from the matter of no parking on this side of the street, that kind of language, and what streets say that you don't park on either side or you park on one side of the street. So the Department of Public Works would make those changes based on their recommendations.
Okay. And so can you tell us who the consultant is? Because one of the questions I think we also wanted to know, it came up about the four-way stops. Some people had talked about, why do we have all these four-way stops? Is that?
That is, we can also do that under the
Okay.
mini grant. I have two organizations that I have in mind to do this work. I haven't finalized which firm.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea we mix it up a
Let
little
us
bit.
know. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Charles Jeters.
I would like to suggest that we keep the 90 days in place for reporting back. Not that it has to be all the way done, just to report back to us where we are with this. This has been going on since 2015, 16, somewhere in there. So there are some things that was started, and due to turnover, they just got dropped. So if you look carefully in there, there may be some things that have already been put in place. We did change Leggett to no parking on both sides of the street. It was a discussion about just doing it from Wabash to Prairie. And then decided because of the buses that come through there, the school buses and the safety, it would be best to do all of Leggett. So it is no parking on both sides except for if you're going to church. You can park there and come out after you prayed and asked Jesus for what you want and go home.
Hopefully gave us no tickets.
Also, I think that we had said 90 days because that would be right before we go on recess.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the 90 days come in, not that people were rushing you, but the 90 days was before recess.
Yeah, and you also have new housing out here, and there is space for them, I believe, to pull one into the garage, and the other one, I'm not sure if you can put it right in front of that garage and not be on the sidewalk. I'm not sure about that. But they also need somewhere to park. So if they're parking on both sides, we got a huge problem coming down through there. You know, there's a problem on Jackson, period. Jackson is, if that emergency vehicle is coming down through there to save someone's life, it's going to be difficult. So we need to find out what to do with that.
So,
Mr. Daniels?
so is it, please the council, instead of rescinding, can I adjust my motion? Is that fine? Amend my motion. I'd like to amend my motion from the language of completion in 90 days to a review in 90 days, if that's fine. So my official motion would be to take that the village manager the village manager office will be instructed to conduct a parking and a street assessment, which they already are doing, in the village of Lincoln Heights with a review in 90 days is my motion.
Second.
It's been moved in second.
Did we rescind the other one, though?
I did.
Yeah.
I said amended, so I amended. So this is a
you
motion. This is a
amended.
motion I'm
Okay.
amending.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Right.
We're going to have a vote on the motion to amend first,
Okay.
and once we get back,
Then
we'll
you
determine whether or not we're going to have a second vote on the amended motion.
Okay.
So the roll
Gotcha.
call vote should be on the motion to amend the motion.
Thank you.
The roll call vote is on the amend the motion. Ms. Randolph, roll call.
Okay, motion to amend the motion. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Do I need to make it?
And just so we're all clear, the amended motion is for the village manager's office to report back to council in 90 days on the assessment that is currently in the pipeline, correct?
Right.
Yes.
So do I need to make a new motion?
No.
Okay, all right. Please. I
Randolph.
don't want to talk anymore today.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing from you before our break in August, Ms. Powdrill. We're gonna move on to old business. Did we have any old business that we needed to discuss tonight? Any old business that needs to be discussed tonight? Okay, thank you. New business. We have first reading of resolution number 2022-R-12, resolution accepting monies from the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority, establishing a special revenue fund therefore.
I move to read resolution number 2022-R-12 by title only.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, resolution number 2022-R-12. Resolution accepting monies from the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority and establishing a special revenue fund thereof.
Can I get a motion to suspend the rules? Oh, no.
I can interrupt for just 1
Oh,
second.
excuse me,
Um,
Mr. Desai.
I apologize. I think in the second whereas clause, we have a blank that needs to be filled in.
Yes,
The
you
dollar
do.
amount.
So we'll need a motion to amend, and I believe the amount is 656,500. That's 656,500. So we'll need a motion to amend the second whereas clause to read $656,500.
I move to amend the second whereas to fill in the blank with $656,000.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Ms. Randolph?
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you. Motion to suspend?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Randolph, please.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Motion to receive for passage.
Second.
Ms. Randolph? Roll
Ca-
call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Motion to accept the emergency clause.
Second.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Next, we have first reading of resolution number 2022-R-13.
Motion to read by title only.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, resolution number 2022-R-13. A resolution authorizing the village manager to prepare and submit an application for the Hamilton County Community Revitalization Grant.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Can I get a motion to suspend?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durance Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you.
Motion to receive for passage.
Second.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Motion to accept the emergency clause.
Second.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
on
Ms.
that
Key.
previous legislation that was just passed, can we ask that the clerk attach the 2022 Community Revitalization Grant overview with that resolution, please?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution number 2022 R13.
Resolution number 2022-R-14.
Motion to hear by title only.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Ms. Randolph?
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass. Village of Lincoln Heights, Hamilton County, Ohio, Resolution number 2022-R-14. Resolution authorizing the Port Authority of Greater Cincinnati Development Authority and its managed entities to apply to the United Way for funds on behalf of the Village of Lincoln Heights.
Motion to suspend.
Oh,
Are there any questions? No? Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second. Roll
Ca-
call?
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Motion to receive for passage.
Second.
It's been moved in second.
Sorry. Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
5 aye votes. The motion does pass.
Motion to accept the emergency clause.
Second.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
5 aye votes, and this motion does pass.
Thank you, Ms. Randolph. Is there any miscellaneous business tonight?
Oh,
Oh, is it something else?
Mylan, no, there is nothing else, but I need to I want to ask the manager a question that she may or may not have an answer to. But, I am looking at things that are going on, and when people submit these grants that they want their community to get it, they actually show up. Is there anything that we need to do with you to show that we want this grant? If you do, just let us know. That you don't have to answer because you may not have the answer at this point. But let me go to Harrison, Ohio. Harrison, Ohio is always showing up somewhere in support of something that they want. And they show up all the time. And they get it. So that's all I'm saying to you. If you need some support in that, I'll be willing to go along with it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Childs Jeter. I really do appreciate that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Mitchell.
So, Ms. Powder, on the multifamilies with the Wi-Fi, are we just doing those because of the proximity? Because we have Friendship Plaza, which is a senior residence, you know what I'm saying, like White Cliff.
Yes, we started this project out in phases, and we wanted to have the greatest impact that we thought that there would be students. So because that cluster is there, we decided to start with the multi-dwelling units. So that would be White Cliff, Centennial, and Oak Park.
Okay, but you realize Wycliffe doesn't have students, but that's okay. Because the proximity, it
Well-
makes it a big impact.
Some do, yeah.
They
Yeah.
have students.
Yeah.
The other piece to that, if they have seniors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a critical piece of the population that we found out with COVID that has this big digital divide. So, in fact, when I talked to the property manager, he was the most excited about having that opportunity, and we talked about how can we do some engagement so that seniors adopt using the technology, and we talked about doing that.
That's fine. Friendship Plaza is a senior resident as well. Okay.
Mr. Daniels?
Yes, ma'am. Mine's a little bit more on a morbid note, so once again, sorry if it's a little bit out of order, but it's a Princeton graduate. She graduated with me. It's a missing persons alert. So she's been missing since April the 5th. Her name is Jessica Walters. She's about 5'2", 35 years old. Once again, Princeton graduate. If you've seen or heard anything, please call the Cincinnati Police Department at 513-263-8300, or you can contact me personally. Once again, Jessica Walters, Princeton graduate, 5'2", hair is brown, mermaid tattoo on the neck, and I'm just reading the description. She also smokes menthols, living in off of Queen City Avenue, been seen in Forest Park. She was going to a birthday party and has not been seen since April the 5th. Has 3 baby boys at home, so please, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Did we have anything else for miscellaneous? We don't have anything else for miscellaneous?
Madam Chair,
Sure, Ms. Key.
I'd like to make a motion
Oh,
to appoint Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson to the Recreation Committee.
Second.
it's been moved in second. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. That motion does pass.
Ms. Childs Jeter.
I want to make a motion to appoint Councilwoman Tanya Key to the Law Committee.
I'll second that. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I apologize. Councilman Durant Daniels,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tanya Key,
Yes.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Yes.
We have 5 aye votes. That motion does pass.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous business? Not the way everybody packing up. Can I get a motion to
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
8:35.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.